Last week, a man killed 9 African-American people who were worshiping at Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal, or AME, church in Charleston, South Carolina. Now, the sordid details are still emerging, but we do know that the killer, Dylann Roof, was influenced by a white supremacist group, and there are pictures now of him online with guns and a Confederate flag. Communities across the U.S., including here in New Mexico, are talking about racism right now and, more importantly, what needs to happen next. I sat down this week with Reverend John Hill from Grant Chapel AME Church here in Albuquerque to talk about the local response to the shooting. Reverend Hill, thank you for being here. Really appreciate your time on a difficult subject, certainly for all African Americans, but I have to say for the country as a whole, we're trying to figure this out, aren't we? We're trying to figure this out. When you first heard the news about the shooting in Charleston, was your immediate thought is, what do I tell my flock? What do I tell people? Were you getting feedback about?
Well, my initial response was shocked because our church has just finished Bible study. And going in, and the strange thing about it was there were 9 people at our Bible study as well. And then finding out that it was an AME church, that really set me back for a loop. And so then then the questions did come to arise. Well, why did this happen? How come this church? A number of those things. And people were in shock, people were in awe, but then people were astounded by the reaction that those in the midst of that gave. And it was not the hate, but they lifted up forgiveness. You know, and just this is the kind of thing where it's no overnight solution to it, but only time will be the thing that will heal it. But we have to work our ways through the wounds, and it's recognizing some of the things that caused the wound. And so you know, that's why I think things like prayer vigils are good, but they must continue because it's not a one-time event for anybody in America.
What do you think needs to be done further? What can I get this all the time. Let me put it quite bluntly. For white people that are out there that care about the country, care about race relations, care about our fellow man, what would you like to see them do? Because I get asked that a lot. I feel helpless. I don't know what to do. I'm sure you hear this as well. You know?
I say, have a dialogue to bring the barriers down, because when you see people as people, you recognize they hurt as I hurt. And it's not so important to say be white and try to be black. No, be yourself and have that conversation, an honest conversation. And it would be a hurting conversation as well. And primarily because of all the things that have taken place. So I think honest dialogue. I equate it to this. It's like the family, okay? And the family has a relative who is a drunk. And everybody knows that individual is drunk, but they don't say anything. But when you have a conversation and don't deny anything, then that reality is there, and then you can get help for that person. And so I think we have to have an honest dialogue, even if it's painful, so that healing can take place. And when you look around at the things that are going on, the pain is bringing about a sense of togetherness, because not only is Emmanuel AME Church hurting, but all are hurting. And then those with any kind of sense look at that and say, wow, it could be me.
That's right. You
know, it could have been my church. I could have been in that place at that time regardless. So I think brutally honest dialogue is what needs to take place. And that's the thing that I question. Is America really ready for a serious, honest, bare bones dialogue?
It seems to have started with the flag, the dialogue.
Oh,
hasn't it?
yeah.
The Confederate flag. What's your thought about that? Is it going to be a cure-all? Is it going? How does that fit in to this dialogue, the removal of the Confederate flag?
To me, that flag is a symbol, okay, and taking it down is a symbol, but it does not do anything to an individual's heart. You can take as many of those symbols down as you want to, but until the person who that symbol is very meaningful to, until they recognize something in the heart, then it really does no good. It's symbolic, and it's a start. But we're talking about changing the culture of America. And culture is one of the hardest things to change, but it's a start. I believe it's a sincere start, because in that you can see how this individual felt and what that flag meant to him. Others may think, well, it's my heritage. And pride in heritage is fine. You know, we as African Americans, we have the national black flag, red, black, and green. You know, and that may mean the same thing to us, but where is it?
That's right.
You know, we will fly that in our homes. We will maybe put it as a decal on our car, you know, but like at my church, there's no flagpole with that where I raise it higher than the flag which is to unite us, which is the United States of America flag. So I believe it's a start, a good start.
Have you had conversations with your peers here in Albuquerque, other African American ministers? And if you have, what's been sort of the tone and tenor of the conversation?
Well, I have. The Ministers Fellowship, of which I'm a member of, with me being one of, there are actually two AME churches. One is a church plant, and then Grant, that's been in existence since 1882. But the colleagues, those who are Baptist, Church of God in Christ, there's a sense of, yes, that's us. Yes, from a religious standpoint, we are part of the body of Christ, and we recognize what this is. And so the coming together through faith, through prayer, to try and make a change. So the faith community has been very supportive, not just black churches, but white churches, just churches coming together. So it's been very empowering.
Do you think there's any implications for Albuquerque? I mean, African Americans, we're 3.1% of the population here. It's been a difficulty traditionally to get our needs, our fears, our hopes, our dreams, whatever, to the cultural surface here in New Mexico. It's been a huge difficulty.
Right.
In some odd way, is this helpful? What's just happened in Charleston, getting black issues elevated a little bit more here in Albuquerque? Are you feeling that a little bit?
Yeah, I do understand it because I'm not from Albuquerque, but I've always understood it as a tricultural state. And I say tricultural, there is a fourth one, and it does have a history with the state, and that is of African American descent. And I do believe that there is a place for it. Raising that to the highest visibility is real interesting. This is the only state that I've ever lived in that has an Office of African American Affairs, which to me, considering myself an outsider, being very impressive. Now, if we can rally around that to lift up various things, not just on a one-time basis, but everywhere. The issue that I see is there's a pie, and everybody has a piece of the pie, and we have a small sliver. And being the minority of the minority of the minority here, it is very difficult to get attention. You know, you can shake you can shake your sword and do everything. But we have to constantly voice ourselves to say, hey, don't forget us. Yes, we respect the Anglos, we respect the Latinos, we respect the Native Americans, you know, and all of their traditions. But hey, don't leave us out too. And I find that a very interesting dynamic here. And as small as it is, it's a very powerful one.
Right. I just said that. Exactly right. Reverend John Hill, thank you very much for coming in. It's a difficult subject, but we need that dialogue, as you're saying. We need that dialogue in every part of this country, including here in Albuquerque. Thanks for contributing to that.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
Yeah.